Hello children and welcome back to Honeydew English classes, the best Christmas present in the world, and in this session we will be doing the third part of this chapter. You all know the author of this chapter, Michael Morpurgo. So before we proceed, let's do a quick revision of what we have done in the previous video. The chapter started like this. The author visited a junk shop, and what he spots there? He spots a roll top desk which is there in Bridport. He immediately purchases that because he always wanted one, and since it was in a very bad condition, he thought of repairing it. So as he was removing the drawers, he got one letter which was there in the secret place. And what was there in that box? There was a letter which was received on 25th Jan 1915, and that letter was written by Jim Macpherson. The letter was written by Mr. Jim, and this letter was written to his wife, Mrs. Jim. Mrs. Jim Macpherson. Now he has written this letter on 26 December 1940. Now these are some of the significant dates in this chapter. 26th December he has written this letter. 25th December he celebrated Christmas. Immediately the next day he wrote this letter, and this letter was received next year, that is in the month of Jan 25th 1915. Now I'll first tell you the introduction of the remaining chapter which we are going to do in this session. First is, in this session which we are going to do, in that we are going to read a letter written by Jim Macpherson to his wife, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, and Mrs. Jim Macpherson's name is Connie. Okay, now just see the pronunciation of this word, Macpher. PH is used for fur. Macpherson. Jim Macpherson has written a letter to his wife, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, and her name is Connie. This letter talks about the incident that took place on Christmas Day in 1914. Children, you all know what happened in the year 1914? Yes, the First World War started in this year. And you will be coming across some new words, Fritz and Tommy. Fritz means the German soldiers. The German soldiers are called by this name, Fritz. And here we have a character, Mr. Hans Wolf. He is the captain of the German soldiers. That means he is the captain of Fritz. Then we will come across Tommy. Tommy means the English or British soldiers. And their officer is Mr. Jim Macpherson, the main character of this chapter. So Mr. Jim Macpherson is an officer of Tommy, that means the English or German British soldiers, and Hans Wolf is the captain of Fritz army, that is the German soldiers. The letter describes how they celebrated Christmas. This is the story about the best Christmas present in the world, that how both the armies, those who are fighting against each other, they celebrate this festival. In this chapter you will come across this word, trenches. It means long deep ditches. Ditches means जो खाई जैसा गड्ढा जैसा बनाते हैं in the ground where soldiers hide from the enemy. Even you would have seen all these things in the movies. Soldiers छुप के बैठते हैं ना. So this is the ditches where the soldiers are hiding. Children, take textbook page number 10. As I have already mentioned in the introduction that we will be reading a letter in this session. So letter starts with dearest Connie. Now this is a salutation. You all know that when you are writing a letter, you have to write salutation immediately after the address. You write dear father, dear mother. So here Jim, who is writing this letter to his wife, so he has written dearest Connie. I write to you in a much happier frame of mind. He is in a very happy mood and he is writing this letter to his wife. And why he is so happy? Because something wonderful has just happened that I must tell you about at once. Now, it happens with you also. When something very nice happens or something very good experience you have gone through, you immediately want to share it with your friends or family. So Jim also had something great and he wanted to share that with his wife. So he is writing this letter. During that time, way back in 1914, there were no mobile phones and there were no other means except for writing letters. So he is writing this letter to his wife because he is sharing something great that happened with him. We were all standing in our trenches yesterday morning. Now trenches meaning just now I have explained. Now Jim's army, that means Jim's army, as I have already mentioned, that they were the British army and they are called as Tommy. So they were standing in the trenches. Christmas morning, and that too it was a Christmas morning. It was crisp and quiet all about, as beautiful a morning as I have ever seen, as cold and frosty as a Christmas morning should be. See, so beautifully the author is describing the morning and so many adjectives he has used. For example, crisp and quiet. You know, mornings are usually very quiet, silent it is. And he has added that it is cold and frosty. You know, Christmas falls in the month of December and during that time we have winter season. So it's obvious it's cold and frosty. Frosty means there was a layer of snow too. I should like to be able to tell you that we began it. Okay, he's telling to his wife, actually we began it. But then he's changing. But the truth, I am ashamed to say. Okay, why he's so ashamed? That it's the Fritz. Fritz means the German soldiers began it. First someone saw a white flag waving from the trenches opposite. And what they saw, that the German soldiers, they were waving a white flag. And children, you all know white symbolizes peace. And you know the backdrop is of a war. They are fighting 1914. The First World War has started during that time. So the scene is the two soldiers are standing opposite to each other and they are in the battlefield. Then they were calling out to us from across no man's land. Now no man's land is the land where it is considered that this is not yours and not ours also. Okay, neither yours, neither nor us. So from the no man's land, the German soldiers, they were screaming, "Happy Christmas, Tommy." Who are Tommy? Yes, Jim's soldiers, Jim's army are called as Tommy because Tommy, the Englishmen are called by Tommy. So happy Christmas, Tommy. When we had got over the surprise, some of us shouted back. अभी it was surprise ना, किसी को लगता है कि ऐसे battlefield में कोई तुम्हें wish करेगा? Wish हम किसको करते हैं? To our friends and family. Enemies को करते हैं, करना तो चाहिए, but do we do? No. So it was a complete surprise for the Englishmen, for the Britishers, that Germans with whom they are fighting, they are greeting them Happy Christmas. अभी कोई तुम्हें Happy Christmas बोल रहा है तो तुम्हें बोलना तो चाहिए ना Happy Christmas to you too. तो उन लोगों ने भी respond किया. Same to you, Fritz. Fritz कौन है? German soldiers. Same to you, Fritz. Same to you. I thought that would be that. और जिम को क्या लगा? बस कहानी खत्म हो जाएगी once we wish each other. But that was not the end of it. We all did. Okay, everyone thought the same. But then suddenly one of them was up there in his grey greatcoat. Now this is the description of their uniform and waving a white flag. Okay, then one soldier came forward and he was waving a white flag. You know, soldiers are in the battlefield. तो कोई भी soldier अगर आगे जाता है तो the other army members, what they will do? They will start firing कि they are coming into our territory. So just to avoid all that, a German soldier, they again waved the white flag that we are not fighting right now. Peace, peace, they want to give the message. And he also mentions, don't shoot, lads, don't shoot. So that German soldier who came forward, he is telling, don't shoot. Lads means the young person or the soldiers. He is telling them, don't shoot. Someone shouted and no one did. Then there was another Fritz up on the parapet. Parapet means little raised platform, and from there, okay, from there the other Fritz, that means the other German soldier, keep your heads down. I told them, okay, one soldier was there on the parapet, one soldier came forward, another soldier they could see on the parapet. So Jim, as being the captain, he thought that it might be a trick. Okay, वो कैप्टन है तो उसको तो करेक्ट इंस्ट्रक्शंस देने हैं ना अपने सोल्जर्स को, तो उसको लगा कि मे बी इट इज़ जस्ट अ ट्रिक, एंड सो ही इज टेलिंग जस्ट कीप योर हेड्स डाउन, बट इट wasn't a trick. One of the Germans was waving a bottle above his head. Okay, so it's indirectly giving a message, it's time to celebrate. It's a Christmas day, Tommy. We have schnapps. Now this word is pronounced as schnapps. I've mentioned this before also. C is silent here. So how you pronounce? Schnapps. Repeat after me. Schnapps. Yes. We have schnapps, we have sausages. So the Germans are telling, let's celebrate. We have schnapps and as well as some food as well as drinks to celebrate. Schnapps is a drink, it's mentioned there in the glossary section. I'll be reading it for you. And sausages, as I told you before also, it's a non-vegetarian food. Schnapps, a German drink made from grains. We have schnapps, we have sausage. We meet you, yes. So Germans are telling, let's meet together and celebrate. Little private by this time, there were dozens of them walking towards us across no man's land. So by the time they are talking about their foods and drinks, they could see some of the soldiers, they have started walking towards them from the no man's land, and not a rifle between them. See, they were not cheating anyone. They were coming forward towards the no man's land just to celebrate Christmas. And they have not brought any rifle, any gun, no weapons were there with them. Little Private Morris, it's one of the characters' name, Little Private Morris. You can see everything is in capitals, LPM. Little Private Morris was the first up. So among all those who were coming forward, he was the first soldier. Come on, boys, what are we waiting for? And then there was no stopping them. I was the officer. Who is I here? Jim. Jim is writing this letter to his wife. Now Jim is telling he was the officer. I should have stopped them there and then. You know, that's why we say sometimes it's better to bend the rules if it is good for everyone. So he being the officer of his army, his duty was to stop them from doing that, and he has got full authority to do that. But he did not do. I should have stopped them there and then, I suppose, but the truth is that it never even occurred to me. उसके कभी दिमाग में भी ये बात नहीं आई. I should. All along their line and ours, I could see men walking slowly towards one another. And what he saw, that both the armies, those who were fighting in the battlefield, now they are coming closer to each other to celebrate this festival. I could see men walking slowly towards one another, grey coats and khaki coats. Okay, Germans and the Britishers coming closer in the middle. And what is there in the middle? No man's land. And I was one of them. I was part of this. Okay, this celebration, this event, this unusual event. He's so fortunate that he was also part of it. In the middle of the war, we were making peace. Okay, such a beautiful concept. If it could happen, just imagine so beautiful this world would be. Everyone would be so happy. You cannot imagine, dearest Connie, my feelings as I looked into the eyes of the Fritz officer, who approached me, hand outstretched. He has stretched his hand to shake the hand. Fritz, Hans Wolf, he is introducing himself. Hans Wolf, he said, gripping my hand warmly and holding it. I am from Dusseldorf. Again, it's a proper noun, D capital. I played the cello in the orchestra. Happy Christmas. Now, what is Hans Wolf telling? Hans Wolf, who is a German soldier, the Fritz soldier, he is telling that he used to play cello. Now, you might be wondering what is it? He is a soldier. Now, during 1914, you know, it was one of the biggest war, and so many soldiers were involved in that war. Now, during that time, they don't have like a joint defense service and all. It was like every citizen had to take part in that war if suddenly the war outbreaks. So, here also the same thing happened. He was actually a cello player, but since the war was there, he had to leave that occupation, and he was into the army of Germans. Now, they have given some few days of training and they are ready for the war. Remaining part of the letter we will be doing in the next session. I hope you all are reading English chapter at home. More and more you read, more pronunciation and your reading practice will improve. So, homework for today's session is page number 19 under the section of speaking. Question number 2. What kind of presents do you like and why? I hope everyone loves present. There is no one in this world who doesn't like present. So, what kind of presents do you like? Okay, everyone has got a different choice. What are the things you keep in mind when you buy presents for others? Okay, if you have to go to someone's birthday party, you have got something in your mind and you purchases. So, what are the things you keep in your mind? For example, you might a book because it can be read and reread over a period of time. देखो सबकी अपनी अपनी सोच है, तो कोई सोचता है कि बुक है तो ये गिफ्ट हमेशा तुम्हारे पास रहेगा, किसी को लगता है कि सॉफ्ट टॉयज देना चाहिए, किसी को बुक के. So everyone has got a different choice. So based on your choice, you can write this. Write in 6 to 7 lines. That's enough. 6 to 7 sentences would be enough for this. Now, before I conclude this session, I want to share with you a very beautiful quote which is mentioned in this textbook towards the end of this chapter. War is the greatest plague that can afflict humanity. We all are witnessing. You know, so many soldiers are there at the borders protecting our land. And if there is a war, it will definitely destroy humanity. It destroys religion, destroys states, it destroys families. You know, if the soldier is killed, the families which they have to go through that trauma, that pain, it's unbearable. So, war is the greatest plague that can afflict humanity. It destroys religion, destroys states, it destroys families. And this quote is written by Martin Luther. Thank you and may God bless you.